tonight on whether or not a 51-year-old sports tradition, the Philadelphia Eagles, will stay in the city of brotherly love or head southwest to Phoenix, Arizona. Talks aimed at keeping the Eagles at Vet Stadium went on all day today between city representatives and Eagles officials. Now, city officials are reportedly still optimistic that a deal can be worked out and are talking tough now about holding the team to its Veterans Stadium lease that runs through 1991.
Tonight we have team coverage of a possible Eagles move. Channel 10's Charlie Thomas has been at City Hall all day today, the site of the Eagles negotiations, and Charles is standing by with the latest word from there. Charles?
Well, John, this hallway just outside the Philadelphia mayor's office is where periodic briefings have occurred during the afternoon. Really nothing new to report today so far, but we have been able to put together better information on what's been happening over the past several days. Leonard Toews left negotiations last night after rejecting proposals made by a group of Philadelphia banks and insurance companies to loan the Eagles between $42 and $47 million. As a condition on their loan, the bankers wanted to control the management of the Eagles, something Toews is not willing to give up. But despite what happened yesterday, Leonard Toews has apparently left the door open to the city of Philadelphia. And from what we're told, he said to Mayor Wilson Goode, he is willing to negotiate in good faith.
Based upon my conversation with Mr. Toews last evening, where he said to me categorically, he said, Mr. Mayor, I want to keep this team in the city, and I believe him.
Mayor Goode appeared at noon today on the CBS NFL Today program after repeating his belief the city has a better than even chance to keep the team in Philadelphia. But the mayor also said again, if the Eagles do try to leave, the city would enforce the team's lease at Veterans Stadium.
We have a lease at the stadium with the Eagles that will run through the year 2001. We intend to take every legal step possible to enforce the terms of that lease.
There are two key provisions of the Eagles Vet Stadium lease the city is counting on. One clause says the team shall, quote, not cause its National Football League franchise to be transferred outside the city of Philadelphia. And the other section says the Eagles shall not play any home football games during the season or home playoff games any place other than Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Leonard Toews has spent the entire day in his Villanova home with his lawyers. There's been no comment or even briefings from Toews or his attorneys throughout this day. Now, Harvey Clark is standing by in the newsroom, and Harvey was there when the Eagles left for their big game in Atlanta tomorrow. Harvey?
Charles, there's been a lot of talk all day long that something is in the wind to keep the Eagles here at home. And as the team took off today for the last season game in Atlanta, there was hope and optimism that the Eagles will still call Philadelphia their home.
Primary, myself, I want to stay here because all my ties is here, my contacts and everything, and I just would hate to have to pick up and go someplace else.
Wilbert Montgomery made no bones about where he wants to play football next year. But for most of the Eagles who left Philadelphia for the final season game in Atlanta tomorrow, they didn't want to think about anything but winning the last game of the season.
Well, I'm going down with the ideal of winning the game. We can't worry about what's happening. We just got to go down and play ball.
Game for Philly. It's just we're going down to Atlanta. We'd like to finish our season on an upbeat.
With that in mind, the Eagles charter pulled out of Philadelphia International today with a shot at a 7-8-1 record this season. What we do know is that the Eagles have left town for Atlanta. What we still don't know is how close the city is to striking a deal to make sure they come back home to stay. John and Chris?
Okay, still no deal worked out on keeping the Eagles in Philadelphia. But talks are continuing, and the Goode administration is talking tough now about holding the Eagles to their Veterans Stadium lease that runs until 1991 with options until 2001. The $40 million loan arrangement worked out with area businessmen is now reportedly off the table, so something else will have to be worked out there. But city officials remain tonight optimistic, they tell us, that a deal can still be worked out and that the Eagles will line up at the Vet in 1985 and not at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe.
I want you, but you're sad and you're blue with the presents you found. Let Lionel Kitty City turn that frown upside down. A time for sharing your feelings too. Lionel Kitty City makes it easy for you. When the waiting's over and the big day comes around, let Lionel Kitty City turn that frown.
Rivals go at it. The Cowboys battle Miami on the season finale of Monday Night Football. All starting at 8/7 Central. Thunder of Lost Loves will not be seen tonight, but will return next week. Now stay tuned for a special holiday presentation, Perry Como's Christmas in England.
Who wants 1,000 acres or two?
I don't.
And I don't, 'cause all I want is you.
Who wants a castle with a
We interrupt our regular programming to bring you this special report from the Channel 6 Action Newsroom.
Hello, I'm Rob Jennings. A decision has been reached on the Eagles' future in Philadelphia. The announcement's being made right now. Let's go live to City Hall on the action cam where Vernon Odom is standing by live for the announcement. Vern?
Rob, here's Mayor Good with Leonard Toast just to his left. City Council President Joe Coleman.
We know that all of you for the past few days have been following the whole Eagles story. And I'm pleased to be here tonight to be joined by Leonard Toast. At this time, Leonard Toast is prepared to make a statement at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I have to get my glasses.
Mr. Toes, flanked by his daughter, Susan Fletcher, on the left, next to Mayor Good there. Mr. Toast arrived at City Hall about 10:15, smiling.
I am very pleased tonight because the Eagles are going to stay in Philadelphia where they belong. I thank Mayor Good for helping me make it possible. I would also like to thank the Mayor's cabinet, my daughter Susan Fletcher, my attorneys, and the Eagles staff for their tireless efforts. I have talked to Commissioner Rozelle, and he has promised his complete cooperation, which I appreciate. Throughout these most difficult negotiations, my foremost desire has been to keep the Eagles in Philadelphia. At the same time, I wanted to remain an active part of the team that means so much to me. I never wanted to put Eagles fans, Mayor Good, or any other person in Philadelphia through the tribulations of this week. But the financial negotiations were so complex that they couldn't be completed quickly. I want to give credit to Marion Camel and Eagles players for their perseverance in preparing for their final game tomorrow at Atlanta in spite of the many distractions this week. They have worked hard this year to improve, to earn your support, and to make you proud of the Philadelphia Eagles, the team you deserve more than any fans anywhere. I would also like to thank my wife Julia for her complete cooperation. Thank you.
You're allowed to applaud. Let me say that I'm very, very pleased with this outcome. Over the past few days, I have had nothing else in mind other than to try and work out a way to help the Eagles to remain in the city. Never in my public life have I seen any one single event to attract more public attention than the announcement of the potential of the Eagles leaving the city. Never have I seen more interest by the news media than in the Eagles leaving the city. And therefore, as the mayor of the city, I felt it was my responsibility to leave no stone unturned in working with all parties to see whether or not we could achieve the Eagles remaining in the city. I'm convinced that Leonard Toast wanted the Eagles here all along. And I'm convinced that basically that he had a financial problem which he needed to have solved. May I point out that even though we make this announcement tonight, that both he and I will be working with the NFL in the coming days to try and make sure that the Eagle will have a sure financial footing in the future. Let me, if I could, outline, before I introduce other people, the basic terms of the agreement that we have reached. The Eagles, of course, have agreed to stay in Philadelphia. We have agreed to build at least 50 skyboxes and look at the possibility of new boxes at the 400 and 200 level, as well as adding additional seating escalators above the 400 level at the stadium. We defer rents for 10 years, subject to a cap, and this will be due in lump sum in the 10-year time frame, and will have an interest compounded at 9%. We've also agreed to provide additional game security and to increase the Eagles' share of concession revenues at no loss of revenues to the city, as well as to equalize the parking fees for both the Phillies and the Eagles. It could go up or down in that case, as well as to build a practice field and to consider building a building along with that practice field and a new practice facility. We've also agreed to help to promote the Eagles, and we've agreed to add 10 years to the base lease, which now run through the year 2001, which will run the lease through the year 2011. The main part of this is that under that lease requirement, there will be a performance requirement, which means that we would have the right to require them to stay and play in the stadium. I want to just express my thanks again for the cooperation of all involved, and I'm pleased with this result. We'd like at this time ask President Joe Coleman if he would this time make a few comments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm very gratified and extremely pleased at the result that has taken place here over the past week. I want to commend the mayor who has worked ceaselessly. I want to commend Mr. Tost, who has also worked and been cooperative in this whole venture. I want to say to both of you that as the president of the City Council, I certainly support the action that has taken place. Not only do I support it, but the entire City Council supports the action that you have taken here today. And may I say again to you that we look forward to the Eagles continuing to take this place here in the city of Philadelphia.
Council President
Thank you
Coleman
very
says
much.
City Council supports it. Mayor Good dons an Eagles cap, and
May I just say that at the
we'll
beginning
be back live,
of
Rob,
these
at 11. Back to
very
you.
difficult negotiations, the person who played a key role.
Thank you very much, Vern. Action News will return in less than 5 minutes with much more on this very welcome decision for Eagles fans. We will have Gary Papa live with fan reaction. Scott Palmer will be live from Atlanta with the Eagles coaches. And we'll see you in just 5 minutes.
This has been a special report from the Channel 6 Action Newsroom. Stay tuned to Action News for further details. We now return to our regular programming.
Coming up next on Action News, the decision is in. The Eagles are staying put. Vernon Odom is live at City Hall with details on the announcement made just moments ago. Gary Papa will be live with fan reaction to tonight's welcome news, and Scott Palmer is live in Atlanta with reaction from the Eagles staff just hours before their season finale. I'll have all the day's news plus AccuWeather next on Action News.
Providing high-speed data links.
I say close it down.
Call a tower.
Alerting you to potential problems, and quickly finding you another way.
The number for the train station.
Sure, I'll be happy to help you.
At Bell Atlantic, our local telephone companies provide the service you've always depended on.
At the train station.
And with the resources of our entire family of companies,
Be right there.
We're committed to meeting your need to communicate, wherever that may take us.
Hi, hon. He's right here.
Yeah, Judy. Well, we're right behind the plow.
Getting you through every day, even very special days. You've got the Bell Atlantic family. Bell Atlantic. We make technology work for you.
For the past year, he's worked to bring your family the finest dairy products he can. Now he is celebrating the holidays with his family as you are with yours. enjoying the dairy products that make the season special. Happy holidays to your family from ours, the dairy farmers of the Mid-Atlantic Milk Marketing Area.
Good evening, everybody. Yes, the Eagles are staying in Philadelphia. You got the definitive word live here on Channel 10 less than 15 minutes ago from Mayor Good and Eagles owner Leonard Tost. Now, the late-night announcement thus ends 4 days of speculation that the Birds would fly to Phoenix, Arizona permanently after their last game of the season tomorrow in Atlanta. Now, Charles Thomas has been following these events all day long, and we get the story from him live right now from City Hall. Charles?
Well, John, throughout this controversy, we've heard of so much money that Leonard Tost had been owing any number of people and corporations, and this was the source of the Eagles' problem. That's what we've been hearing all week. Well, nothing has been said about those loans during this press conference, but a question was...
Mr. Leonard Tost says that the NFL will help him bail out of his current financial situation. He will not need the loans that have been kicked around and offered by local banks. All that's been speculated and talked about all week long. He will not need that. He says he will go to the NFL owners meeting on Tuesday to talk with them about straightening out his situation. Mr. Tost will get a lot of things for the Eagles team. A new practice field, more skyboxes at the stadium, a part of the concessions, part of the parking lot rates that come in. So it appears he's coming out of this and with much more than he went in with, certainly. The news conference goes on now. Let's go listen to Mayor Good.
Interest at 9% rate while it's deferred, and it's money which will in fact belong to us.
Mr. Tost, if I may ask, Mr.
Yes. We answered that a minute ago.
Mr.
Yes.
Tost, many of the things that you're getting with the skyboxes, the new practice field, many people are asking the question and have been asking the question all week, is Leonard Tost holding the city hostage to get so many of the things he's wanted for a long time? Can you respond directly to the people who are listening about that, sir?
No, I'm not holding the city hostage. I think that you'll find that most stadiums have this type of facility. As a matter of fact, for the number of years that we've been here, the city has promised us way before Mayor Good that we would get a practice site. As some of you may know, we had to practice at the Navy Yard this year. So we're finally getting a proper practice facility that I think the Eagles have been entitled to under their lease.
And you believe that the NFL will help you refinance the situation?
Yes, I do, and the city will not have anything to do with that.
Have you talked to Mr. Monahan in Florida tonight, the gentleman with whom you had a talk with in Arizona?
Somebody just asked that question.
It was me, and I'm just asking again. We're on live again.
No, I have not.
What will you say to him and to the people of Phoenix who obviously had their hopes up about this?
I feel sorry about that, but I never made a firm commitment.
Will the relinquishing of any portion of the Eagles ownership be on the table on Tuesday? Are you considering selling or relinquishing any portion of the ownership of the Eagles?
No.
Mr. Tost says he will not relinquish any ownership of the Eagles.
May I just respond to the question that Vernon Odom asked, because it's very important in my view. I want to indicate that we have evaluated very, very carefully all of these items. And we feel that if we're going to remain competitive as a major football league and a major baseball league town, that we have to have a competitive stadium.
Then why did the city have to go through almost a crisis, Mayor, to get these things to remain competitive?
We were committed, I should point out to you, Vernon, we were committed, I'll point out to you, all along to skyboxes. We were committed to a practice field. And what has been added since this crisis come up has been additional boxes, additional seats, additional things. And we feel that all these things will in the end benefit the city government itself, the people of the city and the region itself, and the overall city as a kind of football and sports town. And we believe that these investments will accrue to the absolute benefit of the people of the city.
And no cost to taxpayers.
I think that we will find in the end that there will be far more benefits than costs.
Thank you very much, Mayor. That's the story from here at City Hall on this Saturday night after 5 days of the Eagles crisis in 1984. Now we go live to Gary Papa.
All right, thank you, Vern. This has been a tough week for yourself and for myself and all the Action News team. We had long hours and many countless ones trying to figure out what has happened, but we finally got resolution. Not only for the press, not only for the principals, that is Mr. Toes and Mayor Good has been a long week, but a very long week for the Eagle fans. And that's where we were tonight when the word came down that the Eagles are staying. And with me are a bunch of very happy fans about that. Here's Steve, and we got a couple other guys we're going to talk to it. Now, you guys are season ticket holders, and obviously Mr. Toes' image may not be that great right now, but are you happy to have the team back?
Oh, absolutely. It's a big plus for the city, and I think Mr. Toes owns the team. He certainly has a lot to say about what he's going to do with it, but I think he certainly owes the city of Philadelphia something, and I hope after these negotiations are finished that we want to go through this again 2 years from now.
Please, please, please. Harold's in the back here. Now, he was saying something very, very interesting about Mr. Toes.
Well, I feel that Mr. Toast ought to open up an acting school because he's sure some actor. He's sure some actor. But I do thank him for leaving them here in Philadelphia, and I think Mayor Good did a terrific job. He was great.
Steve, I mean, there was a players' strike a couple years ago. The fans forgave that. Are the fans going to be back there next year with no problem?
I think they'll be back only because it's a tradition. And we got a tradition in this city, and you can't let it go. It's got to be here. It's something to do on Sunday afternoon.
All right, Dorothy and Patty wore the green. Everybody else did. The team is back, guys. Yay! All right, that is the reaction of their fans. Let's get the reaction of the players and the head coaching staff. Let's go live to Atlanta, Georgia with Scott Palmer. Scott.
Thank you, Gary. The official announcement came after the Eagles players were already in their beds. It was lights out time. The players had to get a good night's sleep for tomorrow's game here in Atlanta against the Falcons. So the only member of the Eagles organization here in Atlanta that was available for comment was the Eagles head coach, Marion Campbell.
I just talked with Mr. Toast, and it's settled. We'll be in Philadelphia. He's extremely pleased. I know that our fans are and our players. I have not talked with them yet, and but each coach, as he bed checks, is going to relay that message to them. And I'm just happy for the city of Philadelphia, for Mr. Toast and his family. And the Eagles are where they should be, and that's in Philadelphia. It's a great tradition there. The city of Philadelphia and the Eagles, it's a great association. And it's just finished the way it should be, and I'm very happy for it.
The words of Eagles head coach Marion Campbell. Now joining us live here in Atlanta, Eagles Director of Player Personnel, Lynn Stiles. Lynn, you don't really think the players were all that shook up by the week's events. Explain why.
Well, you know, players and coaches are pretty resilient. And until they said, pack your bags and let's leave, you know, for the most part, all of us felt as though we're going to be Eagles and staying in Philadelphia. And I think the reaction that I have got from the coaches, from the players that I have visited with since this announcement was made is very positive. They're very excited about being in Philadelphia and finish the job that we started.
There are some questions, of course, that remain to be answered. Among them, you as the Director of Player Personnel, you were in charge of contracts. You don't know yet. It's going to be a while before you understand, I guess, how much money you'll have to pay under the new organization.
Well, there's going to be a lot of ramifications involved with this, I'm sure, but you know, I know that Mr. Toast has done what he wanted to do. I know he's excited because I know he wanted to stay in Philadelphia. And we're supporting him, and whatever decision that he has made relative to the Eagle organization, we're going to abide by. But the main thing is, Scott, we're looking forward to this game coming up tomorrow. We've got to win it. That's our main thing that we came down here to accomplish, and then on to 1985.
And we will be right here in Atlanta to cover the game tomorrow and have further reports. Lynn Stiles, Director of Eagles Player Personnel, thank you for joining us live. That's the story from here in Atlanta. I'm Scott Palmer, Channel 6 Action News, live from Atlanta, Georgia. We thank you, Scott and Gary and Vernon. That's the way it stacks up at this hour. The Eagles are staying put right here in Philadelphia after 5 days of suspense. They will be playing their 52nd season as the Philadelphia Eagles next fall, and Gary Papa will be back with more later in the show. Still ahead on...
Take care or begin to take care of that problem at the NFL owners meeting this Tuesday.
Okay, thank you for that, Charles Thomas.
All right, Charles Thomas reporting live from City Hall. Once again, the Eagles stay in Philadelphia. Phoenix will have to find another team.
Mark Haynes has been at City Hall, was there for the announcement. Mark's there now, and will update us with the latest if there's any more. Mark.
There's a lot more, Howard. It's been an exciting night here at City Hall. As we told you, the Eagles are staying. Mayor Good and team owner Leonard Toast came into this room a little while ago and They were all smiles. We knew right away what was going on. In fact, we knew as Leonard Tose arrived what was going on. Obviously, he wasn't coming here to announce he was leaving. So the announcement was made, and they revealed quite a few of the details of the deal. Then again, a lot of the details are not yet revealed. But among the details that they did reveal are that there's going to be a bigger cut for the Eagles out of concessions, a bigger cut out of parking. There are going to be some improvements to Veterans Stadium, like luxury skyboxes and perhaps escalators. In addition, they are finally going to resolve that long simmering dispute between the team and the city over the issue of a practice field. The Eagles have long complained that they needed a better practice field. In fact, the city said that the city had promised a better practice field. And finally, Leonard Tose came face to face with the rumors and the innuendo that have been going around about his gambling. Asked directly whether his gambling might have led the team into this financial situation, he said, no, absolutely not. He also said, I haven't gambled in 2 years, and I haven't seen that reported yet. So, Mr. Tose, you just saw it reported. Howard?
I don't know whether to believe that. I mean, I don't know if I can say that on TV, but I don't know whether to believe that. But anyway, I guess we won, Mark, but somehow I feel that we lost. As taxpayers, we will find out. But the Eagles will be in Philadelphia, and